All right, so yesterday was a sad day for the comedy world. Our last line of defense lost a member, and now we're only down to 999 of them. So it makes you appreciate him a little bit more when you hear Brendan Schaub announce his retirement. But I know a lot of people are probably thinking, how do you retire from something you were never even doing? But retiring at the top is overrated. You know, not many comedians can say that they started with a Showtime special and then ended on a 25-minute YouTube special with more dislikes than likes, and where the comment section is 100 times funnier than the comedian. You know, somehow the peak of Brendan's success as a comedian was when he started, and then the funniest thing he ever did as a comedian was when he retired. So Brendan's career is definitely one of a kind, and I'm sure some people are disappointed that we won't see another special from him. You know, Gringo Poppy, that was a big event. That was huge news in the comedy world. Everybody was talking about it, and people are hyped to see how bad it is. And I thought he was starting to hit his stride with that one. He should have given it one more try, you know, third time's a charm, but I guess it's not happening. And he never got to perform at Joe Rogan's club, you know, the comedy Mothership. You could tell he wanted to perform there so badly, but he never got his chance. Joe just wouldn't let it happen. And at least Brendan had some self-awareness, and he admitted that he's just not good enough to be performing there. I'm sure Joe had to explain this to him a few times. It's probably a tough conversation, but it sounds like Brendan understands, even though I think Joe should give him an opportunity. You know, Joe's the one that got him into comedy. He convinced him to start doing it, so at least let the guy perform at your club one time. But either way, at least Brendan was able to admit he's not good enough to perform there. You know, he actually showed some humility and self-awareness for once.
So I read like, oh, why aren't you playing the Mothership, Brendan? I don't deserve to be there. And me and Rogan have had this conversation. I'm not there yet. There's guys like you, like to me, and I'm not just saying, Big J's one top 5 doing it right now. So, yeah. I am... His special was insane. So I see that stuff. I see Tim Dillon. I see Mark Norman. Those are
Louis J. Gomez, Dave Smith, all these guys.
100%. 100%.
He was going to get to us.
But so I shouldn't be there. I don't want to go there and get backlash. Like, I want, when they invite me to be a headliner, I'll know it's my time.
All right,
I don't want to recreate the Comedy Store for me. I don't want
No.
Stand-up's great.
Stand-up lets you know. Stand-up lets you know.
No, but it's just like...
You can't fake stand-up and you...
But I'm sure if Rogan called him and is like, all right, dude, you can do the Mothership, he'd be there in a second. And Brendan did say he'd do some local shows in LA every now and then, which we'll see. But he's definitely done going on the road to do shows, which makes sense because I can't imagine it was worth it for him. Like, he's probably only losing money, and it's obviously a hassle to fly around and get hotels and everything and be in a different city all the time. I think the only positive and the only reason he kept doing it is because it was a good opportunity to meet some baddies. But I guess that's not even worth it for him anymore. You know, he also lost his baddie wrangler last year, which was a disaster. But if the baddies and the addies can't help him continue his comedy career, I don't think anything will, except the Mothership. Like I said, I think that's the one thing that could get Brendan to return, but it doesn't look like that's ever happening, even though I think Joe should give him a chance. But, you know, Brendan, he said he's just not into it. He doesn't care anymore, which I don't think he's really cared the past few years. He's been canceling shows left and right. So I think this was a good decision for him to finally just be like, all right, it is not worth it anymore. You know, clearly the comedy thing is not working out for him. And he said he'd rather just spend time with his kids, which is respectable and definitely a better way to spend your time. And also he just had a baby, and I think there's some health problems. And I think everything's good now, but I'm sure he started to rethink things with that.
I think this time I just don't care. That's where I'm at. I gotta be home more. I'm gonna pull back from touring so much, and I just gotta be home, man. I got to. I can't miss Tigers games. Can't miss my Bosty growing up, baby girl. I can't do it anymore. I'm tired, man. I'm tired. I'm freaking tired. You know, I've been hustling for over 12 years now. Not that I'm gonna stop doing the pods, but as far as the plane life and stuff like that, I gotta chill out. I can do spots in LA. I can do local, SoCal, NorCal, but going international or, you know, going across the freaking United States ain't happening right now. So I'm going to take a break from that and just focus on family and do my thing, man. Do my thing. So, yeah, let's get into it. Enough of that.
And he's pretty much been checked out of comedy for years. Obviously people would argue that he's never really been in it, but I'm sure after his first special, he got paid a good amount of money for that, and he's probably like, you know what, this is going well. But since then, like the past few years, he's been canceling shows. I doubt he sells any tickets. I doubt he makes any real money on the road. I mean, he probably just loses money. So quitting comedy is probably the best decision for him, and now he can focus more on his kids, and he can focus on his new car show, Toontown, which hasn't been going too great so far. I mean, it's like everything else he does. I think he's just losing money on it. He probably spends a couple $1,000s an episode and makes maybe a couple hundred, if that. And I'm not a car guy, but I know other people who are into cars have watched it and they're like, he doesn't know what he's talking about. Like, he is not a real car person. So I don't know what he's doing with this. And it's too bad he doesn't listen to any advice and try to lean into some of the drama he's been involved in, because he could easily do some clickbait on here that would get, I'd say, at least 100,000 views. Like if he had on Annie Letterman, the Trug Walk girl, and he just recreated that and put it in the thumbnail, people would have to click on that. And there's so much other stuff he could do that could help him get more views, but he just doesn't seem to care. Usually if things aren't working for somebody, they try something new. I guess trying something new was the car show, but I think anybody could have told you that wasn't going to work either, unless you do something different or put some kind of spin on it. But Brendan, he's not even a car guy, so he's just grasping at straws at this point. But of course the comments are pretty funny. I'll give that to him. He definitely has the funniest comment section on YouTube. Like the first one on this video says, "I'm surprised they even let Brendan near race fuel with how much he bombs." And somebody else said, "Brendan should be required to wear a helmet 24/7. And also this video is titled, "Brendan Schaub learns how to drift." And he doesn't learn anything. I mean, he just sits in the passenger seat while somebody drifts a car. So of course all the comments are pointing that out. Somebody said he didn't even do anything but ride in the passenger seat and complain about dying. This was funnier than his whole stand-up career. And I will say, unintentionally, Brendan is really funny. You can always make fun of him. There's always something to laugh at. He should start a channel where he just reads these comments. Like, there's another good idea. I mean, there's a whole channel that's just based on reading the Fighter and the Kids subreddit comments, and that got a good amount of views. And also that Jimmy Kimmel segment where celebrities read mean tweets about themselves, that was insanely popular and got a ton of views. And like I said, Brendan's comment section is some of the funniest stuff on YouTube. Like this other video he had, somebody said, "Honestly, the funniest thing Brendan Schaub has ever done is adopting this new personality where he gets fleeced by real mechanics." And someone else said, "A channel dedicated to someone just dropping their car off at Jiffy Lube for new spark plugs. Genius content." So it's too bad Brendan can't just read these and laugh at them and just roll with the punches and try something new on his channel. That's his biggest problem. He just wants to stick to the same stuff and not try anything outside the box. And it's crazy because he gets a lot of attention on the internet. There are a ton of videos about him. I've made plenty myself, and a lot of people have talked about him. There's videos with millions of views about him, and he probably has one of the most active subreddits with some of the funniest content, but he just has no idea how to capitalize on it. So I don't think anything's ever going to change for him, except, now that he's retired from comedy, or he's only doing a few shows here and there, and I doubt he'll even do that. He's done with comedy, and now that he's done, he could say he's no longer the most hated or disliked or worst comedian, and now there's a lot of people competing for that position. So make sure you let me know down in the comments who you think's going to take Brendan's spot. And that's about it for this video. Also, make sure you go check out my Patreon account if you want to hear about the biggest argument Brian and Brendan have ever had, or if you want to hear about the time Brendan accidentally exposed Joe Rogan, or there's just a ton of other stuff on there. There's over 65 videos. Most of them are over 20, 25 minutes. There's some that are over 40, like this Andrew Schultz one. And there's just a ton of stuff. People seem to think it's worth it. So make sure you check it out. I'll put a link in the description. And then hit the like button, hit the subscribe button, and I'll catch you at the next video.